Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel where you learn everything about analytics, automation and productivity. You know, the data role is one of the fast and most evolving ones in this age. As a matter of fact, anything data becomes the most sexiest job in this century. A lot of you are considering going into this space, and it is important to learn from the story of successful men who has made a career from this. I have the honor of interviewing a special guest today who will be talking to us about his own learning journey. See, it is not about I have been in this business for over 20 years. It is what have you made out of this career in the space you have been in. And I'm happy to inform you that we have a pioneer resource we can look out for. We can look towards and say, guy, how did you do this? Because in the space of 5 years, I mean, technically, you can count it up to 7-8 years, but in the space of 5 years, he has really blown not just Nigeria, he has done the world. Welcome our guest today in person of Ismail Saka.
Alan, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone.
I feel right now that I'm maybe somewhere like San Francisco. I'm really happy. This is a serious conversation.
Yeah.
Because when I replay this video some weeks later, or when you get to watch this video, you will realize that a lot of things has actually changed in terms of advancement, growth that these guys carries. Yeah. So it's a privilege, Saka, to have you on this video.
Nice, thank you, Alan. And we have come a long way actually. So I really appreciate everyone and welcome everyone.
Yeah, thanks. So the first question for you is Saka Ismail. Which one should I call you?
Call me Saka. Saka is my surname, but literally everybody doesn't even know that my name is Ismail. So I prefer everyone call me Saka.
So when you call Ismail, I not even answer you. Yeah. That's how it has been. So Saka is good to go. All right. So can you just tell us a brief about your job evolution? I mean, just I school here, then I work here, I work here.
That's nice. I happened to have the opportunity to study at University of Ilorin after leaving my village in Urile Lugun. For some of those that knows a bit of the story, and I read statistics from 2011 to 2015. I proceeded to Federal University of Technology, Minna, for 1 year, where I was serving as a youth corper. I was a graduate and research assistant there, and from there, I discovered a milestone. Someone introduced me to a freelancing platform, and that person is the person seated beside you here. He introduced me to freelancing, just like anyone else. Oh, why not try this? And I took the bull by the horn to kind of help people with their research projects, with their data analytics tasks, with their consulting activities, with technical know-how, which centers around data and its usage. So there I started freelancing, and afterwards I proceeded to African Institute for Mathematical Sciences for my master's, and then I came back. I picked up a job at AXA as a data analyst, moved on as a decision scientist at Remoni, where I rose to a senior role, senior decision scientist there, and then I moved over to Remoni also as a decision scientist, and I won't let the cat out of the bag. Wow. Something good and something big is about to happen soon.
Please watch out. Please watch out. I mean, it just blew my mind because this space, is fast evolving, and his career is also fast evolving. It's catching up very fast. Before I move on, you mentioned something about where you hail from. Yeah. So I thought, were you born in Nigeria?
Yeah. I actually, I was given birth to here in Lagos, but after my elementary school, I moved to my village for my secondary education.
So you hail from village?
Yes.
Wow.
I am a village. I am a village boy. Like the proper village where the occupation is farming, fishing, and making cassava flour, which is popularly called gari. Wow. I am a village boy, full-bred village boy.
Wow. I mean, that is inspiring. It's stories of possibility. I'm still not going to touch how a village boy becomes this, but you can see that there's a lot to learn, and we can't even cover everything. But let's fast forward this to what you do today. You've moved by freelancing to the corporate sector. You've done a lot in different roles, data role, analyst, scientist, driving operation, even as a scientist. In all of this, what do you think helped you, to keep going, to keep moving? What helps you?
Yeah, I think it's learning, and I'm not afraid of any challenges. And I think that's the crux of the matter these days. Like, some people are too comfortable, or they are not willing to learn. But I believe the future belongs to those that are willing to learn, irrespective of discipline, irrespective of whatever you do, whether in data, whether in any fields that you have. I could really say that in most of the jobs I take, I am not always familiar with the tech stack that they have when I'm going there. Even in cases where I'm familiar, maybe I'm only familiar with maybe 20-25%. It means that I needed to pick up skills for the extra 75%, and I do not just only need to pick it up. I need to pick it up very fast, and I need to deliver quality work with it at a very short space of time. And that is where I've always found myself in all of these days. I've migrated from someone who started doing analysis with Excel to someone who has started using the modern tech stack that you could ever think of, whether from open source to paid for or whatever ones, and even third-party apps that I have no prior information about. I have mastered it to the sense that I could even take the programmer, the owners, I could take them school sessions on them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that tips. I mean, very obvious. There's no way you will have, gone from where you started to where you are now if you have not accumulated capability.
Yeah.
That capability cannot come without learning.
Yeah.
He is open to learning, and he said that he's not afraid of facing challenges.
Yeah.
I think that is the challenges is the challenge.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are afraid. What does it hold? I don't know what it takes to do those things. But someone who is courageous, who is open to learning, knows that give me the opportunity, I will catch up with all that I need.
Yeah.
And let's take it this way. You've talked about being open to learning.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how has been your learning experience? What do I mean by the when you move from AXA, as a data analyst in portfolio management and the rest, to from insurance field to financial services, where you were now concerned about loans, not NPL, all those things, appraising their risk and the rest. How were you able to? What were you doing? Is it the learning on the job, or you also give yourself time to start learning after work or something like that?
Yeah. So I think for some people, they are quite brilliant when they're in university, and if you are one of those, count yourself lucky. And if you are not also one of those, don't also despair. I would tell you the reason why I've said that. So for some people, they are quite brilliant. It means that if they want to learn, they could easily learn very fast. And for those whom are not, that means they needed to take more extra point. But I would say, for any of these, you need to find a way to balance it. At some point, the brilliance is not just enough. The word and then the next few stage now belongs to those who are hardworking and very tenacious. Please quote that, hardworking and tenacious. It just gets to that point, and that is where the advanced analytics and every other thing is. So tenacious in the sense that you finish the work at the end of the day, and you also still take additional time. So for me, it's always like after work. Like I make sure that I try to do something on my work, and then I take time off after work. Even on weekends, I take course. Like I try to make sure I take a course to always boost. And see, resources such as Microsoft Power App channel, Microsoft Tool channel, one which and it's a lot of enormous resources for most of us. But many people feel they are short videos. You could easily graph. You don't need to take elongated videos to And YouTube as well, to be quite honest, is my own university. It's my own learning point. I don't go to, I like to see people demonstrate, practicalize it, and then that is all I have used. So for me, after work hours works very well for me. Weekends also work very well for me to take courses. I try to make sure that in the space of those learning, I take one course maybe per day. If I can finish them, that's fine, or per weekend, that's fine for me.
Wow. Saka, you are really enviable because I actually envied your work. Why am I saying this? Today in Nigeria and even outside Nigeria, if you need someone who is skillful with decision scientists, using data to drive operation, to optimize processes, optimize portfolios, someone who understands what it takes to build models, to train algorithms and build models to better serve customers in insurance, financial services, education, health. To be very quite honest, I'm not just counting this thing. Saka is really skillful there. Your HR recruits, your HR recruiter, they know him. All of them must have ended up in his DM several times because
you know the funniest thing about this evolution of data spaces is that I see a lot of people now start from, oh, I want to be a data scientist. Just pick up Python and start writing scripts. It doesn't just end up there, because you may build several models and you are not bringing out the best value for the firm. And majority of firms in Nigeria are not even at that stage where they can start building models to kind of get value, business value from it. So you need to put yourself into the ecosystem. It's all encompassing. You're building models, you're also doing analysis, you're also doing decisioning, and you're also merging all of this together, so such that the organization can actually get better from you. I think this is the situation where we are found ourselves. Don't just be an analyst or a scientist who is just focused on just one part. Don't be a data scientist who doesn't want to learn SQL. It will end up in tears. I can say it.
I was about going there, talking about the skills. Yeah. That now I didn't come with jot. I should jot something down. When it comes to, you are speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Because your evolution of skills, we're moving on as we're going from one role to another. So you can tell us that at some point that skill will not work. You need to add this to it. Yeah. So what are the skills you think a data scientist, aspiring data analyst, should have to better serve the business?
I wouldn't want to restrict it to say, oh, data engineers should be very skilled in SQL, data analyst SQL, and this. For me, myself, I didn't start learning SQL until much later part of my career. Like, I always wanted to just work with my open source and then do some Excel stuff and like. So I just wanted to do, I was, at some point, I was also not interested in business intelligence, BI. But to be quite honest, in all of this, whether you are an analyst, whether you are a scientist, whether a decision science or any of the data role, please make sure that you have skills that will not limit you. That will not limit you in the sense that there are some stuff that you could easily do in Excel. Don't go and start writing a select star or picking some MPIs, libraries or stuff to do it. Maybe you just need to do some pivot to just understand stuff. You don't need to start writing a lot of code. Do whatever you can use, and don't also say, oh, I'm a data scientist, I don't need to do SQL. You're limiting yourself by what you can do. So for me, what are the kind of skills that you should have? Have the basic skills and then have the very difficult ones. SQL, Excel, Python, R, business intelligence, any of the two, Looker, Tableau, Power BI, database. In fact, see, just make sure that you are well skilled, because what's the essence of the data scientist who build a model and cannot deploy a dashboard to track that model? Of course, you know that you need to outsource that. You don't want to be that. You want to be a full stack, what we call a modern full stack data scientist. A data scientist who is not limited.
Wow. I mean, it's almost saying that you are giving us more or less the parting word, but we're always running up with this. I would then ask you, what are you looking at? You have big solutions for companies. Yeah. Are you looking at a time where you go into starting something, releasing a product into the space? Tell us, hint us.
To be quite honest, I'm a very progressive person, and I've always been right from my early days. I've always said that someday I hope that I'll be a CEO, maybe not CEO, but I'll be a owner of a firm someday. And why is this? This is in line with my goal. I'm so obsessed with little wins. I want to win big. I want something that will stand the test of time. So for me, I hope that someday, which I'm working towards, I will also be able to create something which will also make a landmark transformation in this country, especially in the financial space, in the insurtech space, anything. Like
we can't wait.
Yes, anything.
We can't wait. So back now, as we are rounding this up, because back to the fact that you came from the village, and so I want you to either sing a song, in your village, in your language, or proverbs. Saka can speak in proverbs a whole lot. I just want to hear those things. So, sing a song for us in your language, and maybe give us a proverb and interpret it.
So, I'm actually from Abeokuta. I will just maybe recite a few words, what they call panegyrics, Moliki, from my hometown. Àwọn alára Akémàjò, ọmọ Ẹ̀gbá méjì, ọmọ Ajógbó ẹrú májò gbẹ̀kọ torí ẹrú ní sí ni ẹ̀kọ́ kìí sí nìyàn. I would like to interpret this to a bit. And what it simply means is that in the area of our forefathers, there are the opinions that if you have or between two choices to pick, whether picking a basket full of pap or a group of slaves, we would like to pick slaves because we know that those slaves can work elongated time to make as many paps for you rather than. So this should also apply to you in your career. Look at your choices, pick a preference, look at what will stand you for a longer time and not just a short standing. This is just the pattern we're from. Wow.
Kí ni màá wá fún ẹ báyìí?
There's nothing.
I mean, what should I give him now with all these, fantastic and awesome? I was, ruminating already, sleeping over that, that Proverbs. It means a lot because it's very deep. Okay, so it is honor to have you here with us today, Saka. If we want to take the time, we can continue with these questions, but I believe you have really spoken to a lot of things that we can pick one or two things in the data space. I want to say thank you to you as well for watching this, and please, I hope to reconnect again and again with Saka and have more content, more mentorship program being rolled out. We'll find out and we'll rather flesh this up and let you be informed. Right, so till next that we meet, thank you, and again thank you, Saka.
Many thanks, Ola.
Merci. Yeah, you speak French, right?
Oui.
Je parle français.
Oui, c'est
je parle français un peu.
Ça va, c'est très bien ici.
Je ne comprends pas. I don't know. It's not easy, but Saka is multi-talented languages as well. See, we get to know more about him, but it's a good way to end this show.
Yeah.
I say thank you once again for Saka.
Many thanks, Emola, and it's nice to be part of the community, the learning community as well. We want to also thank you for the good work you've been putting in. It's quite tremendous. Thanks, man. Big up, guys.
Thank you.
Bye,
everyone.
Thanks, cheers.
For those seconds.
Hey.